Hey friends, welcome. Thanks for being here. Super stoked to have Jordan here with me with Waters Above Crypto, and I've heard him talk on Archaics quite a few times, and was always hoping that we would end up chatting. And here we are today, gonna have a interesting talk. So how's it going today, man? How are you?
I'm doing better every day, and I'm really looking forward to this chat.
That's awesome. Yeah, life's getting so much better for me as well, and yeah, I don't know that people realize that that's possible, but that's kind of my message is often just like. There really is a way to transform your life, and I think that's what we're here to do is evolve, and even though
Yeah,
it may seem like people think things are falling apart and everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket, but it's never been better for people like us. So it's just exciting to be alive, and yeah, glad we get to connect.
that's facts. Yeah, I think people wake up some days and they tune into something that's controlling them,
Yeah,
and they can make a conscious choice to do something else to create,
for
put
sure.
some effort in, put some effort in. But yeah, evolution is everything, and I think a lot of people can learn a lot from others that are courageous and take risks and maybe even be chill about the process because it
Mhm.
seems to be those that are actually taking risks and that are courageous are pretty loud.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of ways to do it.
Yeah. One of the things I study is reality transurfing. It's these Russian dreamers that figured out how to hack the dreamscape by reading Carlos Castaneda material. So that's a lot of what I focus on.
Mm,
And they say to take the importance out of it, to really just trust in the magnetism, trust in the process, learn to listen, and you can still get a lot done without having to make it super important. In fact, it's more likely to be, just naturally open up if you don't like aren't attached to the outcome. So we talk a lot about detachment and indifference
mm,
as a means to become suspend judgment and just be neutral, but know, what it is that you're being shown to do and start listening to that guidance rather than the kind of the interfering upper limit problem that comes in for a lot of people where they don't give themselves permission to even imagine what it is that they want to feel or
mm.
do or experience.
That's powerful. I have something in my philosophy where it starts very early on with just a basic quote. It's script your outcome, fall in love with the process.
Mhm. Oh, beautiful.
And I believe like when you just put yourself in process as much as possible, even if it seems meaningless, because of course everyone avoids process because they want it to matter, right? They
Mhm.
want it to have purpose. I think if you remove purpose from process, you just end up being, and
Mhm.
that's the best feeling. It really feels alive. And I think it's clear that most are obviously putting their entire identity around outcomes. And you ask somebody, who are you? And they say their job title they have or their career path. And
Totally.
it's like, but who are you? And then they keep going. I'm a father. It's like, but who are you? And it's like, I know what you do now. I
Mm.
know the list of what you do. And it's amazing to see that those little conversations with people bring them to a place where they start to like, yeah, you could see the excitement in them that they've never had a conversation that goes that path before. And that's my favorite thing to do with people is like, yeah, we get your outcome. We all have the same. All
Yeah.
of our outcomes are more alike than they are different. It's usually the process that gives us this unique code,
Mm.
this unique part of what makes every single one of us so intriguing and unique.
Yeah, man. It's beautiful. Yeah, people are larger than life, the ones that are having fun. And I've met some really incredible people in my time. And yeah, the Toltecs say that all paths lead nowhere. So you might as well find a path of heart and walk on it.
Mm,
And, I think I disagree to a point. I think there is an evolutionary way to die and that all paths don't lead to the same place. You can make use of this obstacle course, so to speak, as a means to unbind from the cycle and to move in a forward direction instead of keep coming back into this storyline of intensity. And so the Toltecs do save their energy, they recapitulate their memories so that they can give a copy of their memories to this force that at the end of life, takes those memories from you. there's a way to
Mm.
preserve that and move in a more evolutionary path. But it's a very advanced thing to consider being able to do, but I think we're in a time where the veil is lifting and more understanding of what's possible for us
Mm.
is going to be revealed because of the nature of forces rising to meet each other. So we got this transhuman energy coming in. I think it's going to just force us essentially to discover our own capacity to match that power in a more natural means because we used to be aware of that in previous, I think, generations because of the nature of survival was different. Now we've been domesticated, civilization happened, we stopped being nomadic, and we entered into a time of when which forces that are higher on the food chain were able to kind of come in and control humanity. And I think that's what we're witnessing is, interdimensional interference. I don't look at it as
Mm.
negative. I just see it as a realizing we're not on top of the food chain and that there are people that are being fed off daily as a food
Mm.
source for these interdimensional beings that have figured out how to lend us their minds. But people like you and I can reclaim our attention and we're not programmed by that like radio channel that's running to that most people are open to. They don't even have their own thoughts for the most part. They become, essentially programs of the program.
That's fascinating. So, who is at the top of the food chain then?
Hmm. The Toltecs say there's these beings that they refer to as flyers, and that they are, essentially they've lent us their minds, and they're the ones that convinced us to build civilization in the way that we did. And they feed, they can't help themselves. They're just predator energy that sees our luminosity. They live a really long duration of time, so their luminosity is doled out over long millions of years, where ours we don't live that long of a life, so our luminosity is really bright and it's really shiny and they're really attracted to it. And so these are non-human, non-physical creatures that are here amongst us, but unless you become a sorcerer shaman that can see these things, and you wouldn't want to see them until you were prepared because the jolt is really intense. But essentially, we have toroidal fields that surround us. And on the outside of that toroidal field, you can build this energetic film that goes all the way up to the peak of your crown and it protects you. But if you don't have that film, right? Then you are being fed off like all the way down to the ankles, they say. They keep people alive just enough to feed off of them daily. And so most people are actually suffering tremendously because they're being interfered with constantly and they don't have their own natural mind. So the Toltecs say we have two minds. We have a natural mind and then we have the foreign installation. And this foreign installation has outmaneuvered us. But because it's leading to our destruction collectively, we're going to be forced to come to terms with what's happening. And you're starting to see it in the zeitgeist. People are talking about interdimensional beings, realizing they're not aliens, that they're demonic. And I don't think any of it's negative. I just think it's designed this way for humans to evolve. And so Toltecs point to this not to cause fear, but to help understand and explain the reality of the situation we're in. So all of this supposedly, according to the Toltecs, is revealed at death, but there's a way to discover and see these things prior to death. So I've had a lot of experience in the wilderness at night on psychedelics where I've seen entities of the night interacted with Yeti and different non-physical creatures. Maybe they can manifest physically, but when you're experiencing them in the wilderness, they're very intense. They will, the hair on the back of your neck sticks up. You can perceive them through like your third eye, so to speak, and they sort of overlap, and you can start to see them almost in with your eyeballs as well. And there's just so many different types of entities that we share this realm with. So, for example, when you're going to sleep at night, most people aren't consciously lucid dreaming, so they're having these storylines play out in their dreams, and they think they're looking at their aunt and uncle, or they're sitting down having dinner with their girlfriend. But if you really look in the eyes of the person in the dream, you will see that they're not human eyes, and that all these shape-shifting, interdimensional beings are pretending to be people that we know, And they're trying in some ways to get us to realize we're in a dream so that they can take us deeper into the dreaming world and teach us about dreams. But sometimes they're also there as like succubus energies, trying to get some sexual energy from you by getting you into a sexual experience in your dreamscape. So just a whole array of different types of beings that are
Mhm.
focused in on us because we're so bright and have so much energy and we're so unconscious of how to use that energy. So they just take full advantage of that.
It's powerful, man.
Yeah, so it's just helps to come to terms with like why the world is the way it is. And for Toltecs, we actually look at it as a positive thing that all these people are there serving as a buffer. Because if those people weren't being fed off, then the focus would be just on us. So in a way, there's like certain people that get to evolve and others are serving as the buffer. And then as we evolve, some of those that served as the buffer will rise up and be able to kind of exit the control program. And it just happens in stages. It's not like humanity's meant to suddenly wake up all at once. We're going to have this unique obstacle course is going to serve as a catalyst for those of us that really want to become seers. So the Toltecs say you can learn to become nothing and everything at the same time. Like your perception becomes so expansive that you could perceive a tree and then realize the tree isn't physical and then become the tree just by copying the emanations of the tree and or anything like that. So the old Toltecs didn't want to leave this earth. They loved the mother so much that they, in order to continue their life force or lifeline, they shapeshifted into trees because trees have a much longer lifespan than humans. And trees are conscious, plants are conscious, the earth is conscious.
Hmm.
So I've heard you talk about realizing that you're not physical, and that's a shock, like whether it was psilocybin or whatnot. But
Yeah.
that's the essence of what I'm trying to understand is that we are luminous energies. We're experiencing physicality as if it's real, but it's just a sort of a hallucination as a means for us to interact here. And I think it
Mhm.
takes a certain type of person to realize that and then be able to start to do things with that understanding.
Are you saying that the more advanced you'd get, you'd essentially get to a place where you would then want to move past this physical body that we call being a human and then become a tree? And that's a form of like the I'm just trying to wrap my head around what you were just saying.
I mean, it's just an option, and these particular Toltec dreamers made that choice. I don't think that that's necessarily
Okay.
an evolutionary choice. I think
Yeah.
that was a way of escaping death, and I think there's fear around that, and they chose that more out of fear than out of love. But
Yeah,
maybe
that's what
love
I was
itself.
right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking because I have kind of I try to make everything very simple. And I
Yeah.
feel the thing that I'm seeing with humanity is not that they're asleep. It's not like they need some evolution or advancement necessarily. And I've realized that a lot of so-called enlightened beings, self-proclaimed enlightened beings, a lot of people that perhaps are even drawn towards uh our energy, they believe they're enlightened because insert event. So it's like because they learned about 9/11, because they learned about C-19, because they learned about the Epstein files, because they learned, and I'm like, is that really like I realized that I was onto something when I started treating everybody as like as there's God within them.
Hmm. Beautiful.
And I didn't make it all about me all the time. And the more
Yeah.
people I meet where they're like, I know that Trump is doing this on the and I ask myself, but what about you?
Yeah.
What are you going through? What are you building? What's
Yeah.
your process right now?
Yeah.
And they kind of like lock up because they don't know how to they don't really even know who they are.
Yeah.
And they kind of like have again they've just fractaled their ego into all these different player characters and it's most of the time it's not even like this Matryoshka doll, it's not even the Russian doll where it's as one, it's literally opened up and just placed on a counter and it gets to be whatever the cultural
Hmm.
moment of the day is.
Hmm.
So I don't say that out of judgment but more out of observation, and I feel the reason it gets that way is because not only quote unquote enlightened beings and the collective, they're all trying to not die.
Yeah.
And I have had my experiences, where I realized that, like, why am I living to not die?
Mhm.
And we spend so much time trying to not die that we never live.
Yeah, love it. I agree, man. Yeah, I try to treat every day like it's very likely my last, and yet I live as if I'm going to live a really long time. And so I'm very, I'm very careful about, I'm very, you know, capable of listening as to what I really want to do with my time. And I celebrate life and I've fallen in love with my existence. So I'm not seeking anything outside of myself. I spend a lot of time alone. I've learned to stop talking to myself so that I can observe energy and go into these altered states that heal me because I get a break from being Joel. I get to be, just a creature that has shattered the mirror of self-reflection. I'm not keeping tabs on the world or even my personal history. And then that resets my field, and then I can go get my work done,
Mm,
put my hat back on and like go after it. And it just is, I don't think people realize how quiet you can get, that there's ways to go beyond meditation into the more what we call the active side of infinity, where you become lucid while awake. So like there's a way to lucid dream while you're totally standing up and just get a break and go into these really kind of like traversing other layers of the onion, so to speak. And because I've been doing it since I was 16, it's really like kind of second nature for me. But I think if people knew how incredible life can be, the passion, would light their fire and they would be able to heal themselves with that fire because we're designed to have a lot of energy and to navigate intensity. Shamans say time is measured by intensity. And so a Toltec can have a day that is so powerfully intense that it's comparable to a lifetime of somebody else who didn't have much intensity. So we get to change our relationship with the linear by becoming nonlinear and then being able to merge with creation. Toltecs talk about becoming capable of experiencing flight as a raven or an eagle, vision quests or mushroom experiences lead to these realizations that we can do so much more than, be in this particular avatar. But it's super important to take care of this avatar and to heal it and to deal with any unresolved emotional wounding that's still in place and be able to go, take care of the physical and the energetic self to
mm.
handle the electricity that's going to continue to move through you as you start to be able to explore perception more. And because the veil's lifting, I just think more and more people are going to start being able to lucid dream. I teach these shamanic movements that put you in these really altered states. They're designed to get the right and the left side of the brain to work together in a way that's really unique because the movements are hard to remember. So you have to get out of your mind and into your body. There's just so many ways to heal yourself, to be a human, to enter into a relationship with someone and open your heart and learn about your
Mm.
shadow wounds. Like we're here to be human. I'm not seeking escapism as a shaman. I'm not even claiming to be a shaman, but I am fascinated with our ability to traverse perception, but then come back here and bring that energy, that magic
Yeah.
to our creation, whether our masterpieces or whatever work we're here to do.
Yeah, you unpacked a lot of stuff right there where I think the average person they tune in and they're like, well, what do I do?
Yeah.
Do I become an eagle? Do I work on my unresolved trauma? Do I
Totally.
become a shaman? Do I learn some movements? And like I think that the one thing that a lot of people are going through is they're afraid to be a human.
Yeah.
Like before you said something and I want to ask because you kind of you slipped into this statement where you said something about going beyond Joel. And I want to ask, like, is there anything wrong with being Joel?
No, no, no. It's just this opportunity to, experience this um, where you become nothing and everything at the same time, like realizing that we are all one. And it's like aloneness leads to all oneness. And so we call it shattering the mirror of self-reflection, where you even forget your name you're so engaged perceptually with the intensity of what you're observing that you get a break from your personal history, which was called Joel. You still, you become even more beautiful and in in harmony with the experience of being human by getting this experience. It's just a reference. So
Yeah.
I'm totally in love with my opportunity to be Joel for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of people they look up to heroes, they look up to people who are courageous, who take risks, as I said earlier, and that's the beauty of being somebody who's taken the time to acquire all these skills and knowledge and then a apply the knowledge, which I call wisdom. And now that you're here, it's like we love Joel. Because if Joel continues to be Joel, then we get a piece of Joel, and that unlocks that unique, authentic, genuine version of me that perhaps I'm not able to align with. I'm not able to tap into that
Mhm.
frequency that is on that unique, space. And I am maybe a little bit tethered to whatever that radio frequency is that you brought up earlier, that these, uh,
Mhm.
I forgot the terminology you used,
Yeah,
but
fly.
yeah, flyers. Yeah. So, I mean, that's been my work over the past particularly 5 years is like spending time with the public and getting them to not want to do all of this Eastern spiritualism stuff of killing
Mhm.
the ego and
Yeah.
all of that. Like if anything, my methodology starts with healing the ego and the
Mhm.
idea that the ego is important. Like I like Joel. Joel is a Joel is Joel. Like
Mhm.
I want to know who you are.
Yeah.
When I'm in a Uber and I have like the drivers from Azerbaijan, I'm like, I want to learn about Azerbaijan. I want to learn about you. Like, who are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
We could talk about all the rides you've had and the interesting customers you've had and et cetera, but like, I want to know about you.
Mhm.
And the more I spend time putting my energy into learning about people and knowing how to talk with them to get that version of them to come out,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the biggest part of my evolution. Not
Mhm.
learning about, like the Zionists and the truth of World War II and the transatlantic slave trade being a hoax and if the Jesuits run the Catholic Church, like it's fascinating to have all this information. And maybe I'll say, and I believe we're probably a little bit more similar in this way because you're somebody that you could talk a lot of ideas out in a rapid fire pace that a lot of people they would have a tough time even remembering the things that they've learned. So maybe me and you are alike where we have very good memories. By
Mhm.
default, we can maybe read something once and we that's it. That's been my experience in life where I get information immediately and it's absorbed and then that's it. I don't need to continue to go back and restudy and restudy and restudy.
Yeah.
But with that, even with that, there's so many people that I've met where like they spend their whole purpose in life is to acquire information, and in the process they forget themselves.
It's
It's like
amazing.
they lose. So in the process of acquiring all this information, you're no longer Joel.
Yeah.
You end up becoming uh a Jesuit or like the exact thing that you're studying, you end up
Yeah.
becoming that almost. And in your hatred of them, that projection and the feelings that you have and the fear you have of them and the anger you have towards them, you actually become them and you don't even realize it. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm learning the people who I'll say one more thing because you before I asked you like who runs this thing.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, you gave an amazing answer because you gave a very unique answer. But what a lot of people expect, especially from, more quote unquote conscious communities, is like it's insert identity that we all like, either the identity of the moment or
Mhm.
something of the far past. Somebody might be like, it's the Zionist, or somebody might say it's like the Knights Templar or whatever, right? But
Mhm.
I think I think we have way more freedom and
Mhm.
way more peace and way more wealth than a Rothschild has.
I agree.
Because every dollar you earn, when it's like coated in the pollen of evil, right? Like when
Yeah.
it's that, it's like, what is it actually worth? It's like
Mhm.
robbing people when you steal from people. Like, sure, you got the physical thing, but now this thing is like a voodoo doll, and you don't
Mhm.
even realize the tangible item that you got.
Mhm.
And it's really fascinating how people don't realize that. They think celebrities and famous people have all this freedom because they have a lot more money than them. But
Yeah.
like, what's money? Like at
Mm,
some point, money becomes literally irrelevant and it only solves money problems.
mm,
But you have to realize there's an energy attached onto that money. The same way there's an energy attached onto the words that I speak to you.
mm. Powerful, man. Yeah, thank you. It's super important point that, I've witnessed myself, and I've been careful, fortunate to like not be caught in any materialism since a young age, because I practiced with some really unique people when I was really young that just were very agile perceptually and knew how to have a lot of adventures and have fun and to not let the social storyline hijack their experience. And yeah, so for Toltec's, knowledge is power. It's not information. It's perceptual prowess. It's the capacity to handle extreme levels of intensity and joy and connection and love, and to be able to become fluid and lucid enough to go on adventures that aren't scripted. Like I've traveled a lot, and you have to be very alert in order to have a true adventure. There's no itinerary. It's, following signs and omens and following the flow of the adventure. And people that know how to do that are incredible to hang out with. But I typically will have to break away from people if they're in their heads and they're not feeling their way through life. And it's just kind of like being on mushrooms and the other person isn't. It's like it's
Sure.
different, but I also am willing, and I build bridges rather than burn them. I'm also always looking to get to know people, and I'll go put myself in unique situations on the streets of LA with schizophrenic people or wherever. I'm always observing and learning,
Yeah.
and I get called to have conversations with certain people, and I'm just fascinated by all of it. And to me, to me, attention is the currency. If we can reclaim our attention, we could become
Hmm.
so focused that we could achieve incredible things, especially in groups. If you can get a group of people to get silent and place their intention into the center of the circle and build this feeling of, you know, connection and love, and we can get into states of awareness, by helping each other. And to me, there's this powerful thing called human mass, and if we can get enough people focused on the same intention at the same time, we can intend incredible things. Typically, though, when a group gets built, there usually is some sort of drama or pendulum that comes in to try to break it up. So we have to be aware of how delicate it is.
Well, I think most people, when they get into groups, they want a military order. Like they
Yeah.
like having a general, they like having the Pope, they like having a leader.
Mm.
And in my process, I always tell people I'm speaking to the ears of leadership. Like none
Mm.
of you are following me. I don't
Yeah.
want followers.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I want quality in my
Mm.
in my circle, and I want us to build together. And you
Yeah.
can't build with followers. You can only tell followers what to do, and then you could control them, and that's how you have a cult. And I'm lucky enough to have put a lot of I guess I was really, really excited to learn about cults when I was growing up because I grew up without a religion,
Yeah.
but I of course was surrounded by them. I was born
Mm.
in Brooklyn, New York, so it was funny. Like I grew up seeing all these religions, and I got to a point in life where I asked my mom, I was like, why don't we celebrate these things? Like, why don't we partake in all this stuff? And she told me that she was an atheist. And I
Mhm.
was like, why don't I call myself that? And she's like, well, I'm not going to do that to you. And
Yeah.
I asked her, why are you an atheist? And she said, because my grandfather, she said my father died really, really quick, really young because of a type of cancer that he got.
Mm.
And when she told me that, I wasn't satisfied with the answer. I was like, that's not a good enough reason to make that choice. That's like a bad reason. But I was too young to realize that I had that wisdom initially,
Mhm.
but it opened up this awareness that like I want to know why I found her answer not sexy.
Yeah.
Like, why wasn't her answer attractive to me? So I started diving deeper into religion. And then, of
Mhm.
course, the natural like path this takes is like, why are certain religions so extreme, or why are they so extra with their garb and the way that they carry themselves and their protocol, their ritual,
Mm,
And you eventually start learning about cults because of the negative, right? That's tied to them in the mainstream. And throughout all of these, you connect a bunch of dots. And for me, I think that was the most important study of my life was learning about cults because I realized that I'm someday going to be somebody that a large group of people maybe are interested in.
yeah.
And I need to know how to assume that position. I need to know how to be ready for that position. And I see a lot of people that call themselves leaders and they legitimately they like get off on making people do what they want them to do. They get
Yeah.
off on controlling them, telling them to not like certain people, don't engage
Mm,
with those people. I think that shit's crazy, but like I
mhm,
grew up luckily with the ability to realize that that's not how to do life,
yeah.
not even on the individual level or on the household level, because I think we could both admit that this personality, it exists in very small numbers too in a household between
Mm,
mother, father, child, where there's just this sense of dominance, control,
mm,
and it gets passed off even in the modern sense is this idea of masculinity in some cases. And I don't agree with that at all. But
mm.
that's the culture that we're alongside with
Yeah.
every wise, with every piece of wisdom that hits the internet, there's 10 pieces of, cultural slop. And we have to become like the laundry detergent sometimes, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I don't mind playing that role, but what's, I want to know a little bit more because you said you were lucky enough to have grown up in this particular like ecosystem where I guess you were surrounded by people that could have like kind of prepared you in a way that wouldn't have been, as you said, materialistic. I had my own like very unique path, but what's your take on cults specifically? What's your take on like that um and the cult of personality and what it does to the individual?
Yeah, well, I mean, so I unknowingly entered into a cult when I was 16. It didn't start off that way, but it became one. But
Oh, okay.
it was incredible. Like, we were spending every day in the wilderness, doing parkour before it was called parkour. And I just was basically convinced to like walk away from all my friends and society and to just immerse myself in this intense training with just a few people that were sort of selected. And I was this very fearless man who could do all these physical things that I'd never seen anyone be able to do. He was a pro skateboarder and pro BMX, but he was taking it into the
Do you mind
parkour.
sharing his name?
I'm not going to share it because it's
Okay,
become a
okay,
really like he's kind of
okay,
gone to
okay.
a place I don't want people to go look for him.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
really fascinated. I'm really fascinated with skateboarders. That's
yeah,
why.
yeah,
That's why I'm
yeah,
interested because I like yeah, like Rodney Mullen is like king
yeah,
to me. Like
yeah,
he's one of those people that like I even though I can't skateboard myself, I'm always like listening to his interviews and stuff because he has
yeah.
insane wisdom and the way he talks and the way he carries himself is just yeah, man. We could learn more from that man than you can from a lot of people. But
So,
anyways, I'm sorry to cut you off, brother.
no, no, that's great. Yeah, it was a really incredible thing. In hindsight, like I wish I hadn't walked away from my friends in order to enter into the intensity of it,
Hmm.
but I was just covered in like leaves and mud and just getting dirty every day. And it was just like cleansing me of domestication. It was just like getting sweaty and running through spider webs and just
Right.
not caring, and just like coming home and just exhausted and just having the most incredible lucid dreams because I was no longer in some sort of like social contagion. I was healing my perception. And it was so energizing and fun. And this guy was so funny and he could move our perception just by talking, like, because he was so altered. So we would have to like take mushrooms just to be able to sort of keep up with him, but he didn't need the mushrooms. He was already permanently in that state. And we spent years and years and years training with this guy. And, he started to develop delusions of grandeur, and it was very hard to watch and see. And it was hard to extract myself from it because he was like, look, if you don't keep up, you're going to be left behind kind of cult concepts,
Damn.
right? So I was pushing myself to learn how to skate, to learn how to do parkour, to learn how to keep up with him in all the ways. And eventually it was like shit. Things got pretty dark, and I went and trained with a shaman in New Mexico as a means to recover from this first shaman. And then that shaman proved to be a cult leader, and but I learned a ton from him. We did sweat lodges and vision quests, and we're doing all kinds of interesting things with people from all over the world in New Mexico. And that was a massive group of people that were training under him from all, he was like one of the top exorcists in the world. He'd get flown out to South Africa. So at 16, I entered into this training and it didn't ever end. I just kept going from one shaman to another. Eventually, I left that second one. I went and found a medicine woman in Texas that was really in her heart and helped me to kind of heal from those previous cults. But I really walked away from society. We even put on backpacks and walked into the Rocky Mountains. I dropped out of high school when I was 17, and I went into the mountains with 80 pounds of gear on my back, and we just disappeared into the wilderness. And we had water filters and just enough food to stay out there for a long time. Learned to fast and not need to eat for long periods of time until we were
Yeah.
do all that stuff. So to do that at such a young age just kind of broke me out of the typical hive mind process. It was hard to come back and like get a construction job and like re-shield myself because I was like gaping wide open. I wasn't like socially normal. And it was really
Right.
hard to like re-enter society. But it ended up being a necessary, beautiful thing. And then I fell in love with building houses. Like I couldn't believe people were paying us to build houses. I was like, this is so fun. You get to fucking put all these sticks together and build these homes. And,
Yeah.
like I loved it. So I became really passionate and stoked on that piece, but I never had to do kind of like the normal draining bullshit. Got pretty liberated early on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that means you had a direct experience, a couple direct experiences with cults, and like what made you on like now looking back, what makes you able to call it a cult? What are some of the
Yeah.
bullet point?
Yeah, it's a type of hypnosis that puts you in a unique hive mind. So there's the collective hive mind, but then when you get group think caught in a small group,
Yeah.
it's even more hypnotic than the collective hypnosis. So, it's usually an energy exchange, whether it's sexual. My cults weren't sexual focused, but they were
Yeah.
attention focused. So the leader was getting this power and energy from people, hanging on every word, right? So there's this like this monster of an ego that's developing in the cult leaders. And so I'm really glad that I spent time with these people because
Mm.
I learned how not to do things. I learned, I got a prime example of how dangerous it is and how hurt everybody gets, including the person on the pedestal, because eventually they fall from that
Yes.
pedestal and they get hurt, and then everybody's life is shattered and they have to go put their life back together. So, it's just watching this happen, in real time with other shamanic groups and teachers. And so I'm very critical, and I'm willing to call out people. Like my training now, essentially my pattern is I go into groups and I expose any cultish behavior and I call it out. And I don't mind being that guy. I
Mm.
save a lot of people a lot of heartache by just saying how I see it.
Yeah. So what's super fascinating is we can break things down into percentages just for the sake of being simple here. And earlier you were talking about, the collective or just well, the majority. Then you have these people that are more, they are fascinated by the occult or they're fascinated by these like Eastern spiritualism is a huge one. I think that's like 90% of what people get fascinated with is like yoga, pranayama, this type of stuff. And then there's like layers of ego damage. And I agree with what you said before about how when you dial it down to an even smaller group, it's even more concentrated. What I would
Oh,
consider like the damaged ego. It's even more concentrated than the collective because the collective can still operate and function and they can adapt. But when you destroy someone's ego so much to the point where they're only operating on the words of one other man, you
Hmm.
become you're no longer you. You have
Yeah.
no sense of self, and you
Yep.
can't go back into the world and adapt to it anymore. And the funny thing is, if you even left your ecosystem to go into another cult that was very similar, you would
Mm.
still have a hard time adapting to that new world because it's not the exact carbon copy replica of the version of reality that you've been hypnotized into. So what we've learned about you, what your community has learned about you is that you have your ego is intact. Your ego isn't a gas tank that has a million holes punctured in it.
Right.
And that's what these leaders are dealing with. It's they're siphoning everyone's life force from them.
Hmm.
And that's the only way they could survive because they're hurt.
Mm.
We're all to an extent, we have some pain. We have
Mm.
some, something that we could look back on that we're still working through, which we could talk about more in a moment, but what we're working through, we need to forgive. And a
Mm.
lot of the time, these leaders, they bypass the process of forgiveness and they go straight to, well, I just need to siphon everyone's life force energy away to keep me from avoiding my mission. And I
Yeah.
could, I could, put on the general badge that I'm running this army and look at me go. And because a lot of people want to actually, funny enough, the average person wants to heal their ego in
Mm.
my opinion. I
Mhm.
don't think they want to avoid the work. And this is
No.
why I said very early, I'm not really even fascinated by people who have all this knowledge and wisdom unless I can sense that where their ego is at in the process. Like, what are you doing it for? Are you
Yeah.
doing it because you want to be Joel, or are you doing it because you want to be perceived as somebody, insert whatever it is that you're looking for?
Mm. Mm.
But it's a long-winded way of saying that I get so much value out of talking to, as I said earlier, the Uber driver
Yeah.
because it's a reflection more of like what the truth what truth could actually be and how truth doesn't need to be these very specific things that you learned from an ancient text or from
Mm.
some second passed down storytelling of another religion or how
Yeah.
it's intersected with a mythology that comes from another side of the planet or it can get so many layers deep that it almost seems impressive.
Hmm.
And one of the things that you talked about like going into these groups and being able to sort of, I guess, wake people up to these nuances that could be cult-like. One
Mm.
of the things that I work with people on a lot is look out for things that impress you.
Yeah.
I call it like, because I'm from New York, like I just call it like it's like razzle. Like when you see people at like the basketball court and they're just doing all this dribbling and they're looking all fancy, but they can't make a fucking shot.
Yeah.
So it's like you can dribble and you could look really nice and you could do all of this fancy stuff, but it's like, can you perform?
Yeah. Exactly.
One of the things that you mentioned about your first group that you entered was the guy could perform.
Hmm.
So when you see someone that could perform, it's very like it's magnetic, right? Because
Yeah.
it's more than just like the the show off. It's like this is the real fucking guy.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned also about a lot of cults is they have the ability to actually show you at least one trick that works. And
Hmm.
if you can show people the one trick that works, people will start to believe because humans need to be convinced through
Hmm.
belief technology.
Hmm.
And the fascinating piece is people go to, I rather be entertained by the guy who can do the thing. And once the student wants to now acquire the skill from the person who's teaching it, they will never give them the trade secrets. They will never give them the secret sauce.
Yeah.
That's one of the best ways to determine if you're in a cult.
Sure.
Like for
Uh,
me, are
I
they
agree.
are they operating in the I think we brought up maybe three key points there, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, you definitely have proven that you have a ego that is very strong. The
Mm.
world calls that bad.
Mm.
The world calls that a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I find that to be like it's psychopathy at its finest because what we're basically saying is the man who doesn't fall for the cult is
Mm.
somehow an egoic narcissist, whatever word, you to
Yeah.
insert negative word. And
Totally.
it's because you're a traveler, you're nomadic, you don't want to settle, you want to acquire all of these different concepts to truly understand amongst a world that understands.
Mm. Yeah, man. Beautiful. Yeah, it is. It's discernment, discretion, discernment, being willing to look and see when I think somebody that is no longer able to be deceived is a very powerful person. You can tell when you're being lied to or when you're being entertained by a psyop of sorts. And so, there is a way to heal our relationship with perception by not being distracted by things that are not important to our evolution. And it takes discipline and impeccability in order to be in this place and come in and you kind of got to go through get dirty and get in the mess of everything in order to learn. You can't just, like that's why I love construction or like the challenges that really makes you a man is when you can go into situations that you're not skilled at and develop those skills and then become capable. And once you learn to do something well, you learn how to do everything well. It's like
In a way.
this place becomes, it teaches you so much. So one of the teachers out of the Toltec system, he said, the world will teach you everything you need to know. You don't need a guru. Just go out and have experiences. The world will reflect to you where you're at. And so I've learned to not only be able to do all this shamanic stuff, but I can go into a construction environment and people perceive me as being responsible and that I can match their energetic frequency so they feel like they're working with someone that's like them. I don't try to tell them anything about these other parts of me. I'm just there to connect to that group of people and to what in martial arts we call it sharing ki. If you take a photograph of a bunch of martial artists and they're all focused and they all have the same energy running through them because they've been training together and building this incredible state of attention together. And you'll find that on job sites, you'll find that in crypto communities or different places where people are on fire and they've aligned. And so I'm always sharpening myself by being around people that are sharp. And they might not be interested in the same thing, but they're good at building houses or they're good at pouring concrete or they understand
Right.
the world that they're in. And they're just so amazing. It's so amazing to be with people who are laughing and enjoying their life and are providing for their families or whatever it is. So we don't need shamans and gurus and even philosophies or religions or teachings. Like the world, just being physically here, experiencing life, taking in the sun, being in the presence of beauty, people, it's just, we're just so fortunate. So I do think it's important, to have a strong ego so that you can, um, if you need to bark, if you need to yell and you need to
That's right.
deal with situations that require command over your voice, then you built that power within you. So when I say the word no really fucking loud, because I practiced it, like if I do that in the presence of certain people that aren't ready, it'll totally fuck them up. It'll like run through their whole body and they can't handle how powerful that one word is coming out
Yep.
of my body. So I think we need powerful, strong egos to be able to come out of being domesticated to the point that we can be controlled, by these non-human forces that have possessed people that are trying to run an agenda. So the 100th monkey thing, I think, is real. If you, me, and enough men and women are able to reclaim our attention and our power, then it's going to be that much more difficult for these agendas to roll out in the way that they would expect them to. So we're actually, in a way, we're reclaiming or in a way we're defying these forces and agendas just by healing our by healing our ego.
Precisely. That's my big breakthrough and like my realization throughout my experience where people have commented on the way I've behaved and I'm just realizing I'm like, why are you upset with me being the most powerful version of myself?
Yeah.
Like because I don't sell my soul, you're aggravated.
Yeah.
Like, and it to me, it's the biggest compliment now. Like, whenever anybody says something about my ego, I'm like, you're reminding me of the work that I've put in.
Yeah.
Because it's no, I cannot look at such a thing as negative when I look at my impact, like when I look at what I'm doing here. I believe my mission is honorable.
Mm,
So as long as you set a vision and you continue to operate from the process and it's towards that vision, it doesn't matter what the comments are or the feedback is anymore. You know, you just
yeah.
have to have that sense of I'm doing this because this is what excites me. I'm doing this because I know this is what brings excitement back to everyone who um crosses my path. And
Mm,
that's truly and I think, we were in alignment before with what you were saying with you build a house or you get excellent at one thing and now it starts to like become a ripple effect. I
yeah.
1,000,000% agree. And that was the statement that I made earlier, where it was like about the eagle to the healing childhood trauma to the, becoming a shaman. Like a lot of people right now, they just want to get one of the qualities that maybe it's taken you a lifetime to acquire. And what what I believe everyone should consider is just get excellent at the one thing that excites you right now.
Yeah.
Whatever is exciting to you right now, get excellent at it. But what I mean by excellence is that it has nothing to do with the comparison to someone else that does it. For
Yeah.
example, that would be what I believe is phase one. Phase two is being able to get excited and inspired by people who do something that you don't do
Yeah.
or you believe you can't do, and then now you use that as prana, like as life force energy to fuel the thing you do. For
Mm,
example, I was just watching, like, I don't skateboard, but I was just watching a Rodney Mullen video from back in the really really early days before like he even invented the kickflip. So it was like the original footage of him at some contest in California.
wow.
And a lot of people, they look at this and they have a couple reactions. One is that that's amazing. I can never do that. But then some people that are getting into skateboarding are like haters, right? They're like, what the fuck? Like, I could do better, or I could do this, or
Yeah.
that was back then, or whatever. And it almost feels like there's no inspiration taken from any of it. It's just it's either entertainment or it's judgment, and
Mm,
there's no takeaway.
mm,
And for me, I think a skill that might be equally, if not more important than putting in the actual work is being able to consciously consume and
mm,
absorb inspiration from everything you interact with, even if it's the food you eat. For example, if anyone has the resources, I would really advise go to like a three Michelin restaurant if you can afford it. If you can afford it. Because when you go to that type of restaurant experience where everything, like literally when you sit in the chair, there's a
mm.
person that just like spawns to push your chair under you. You know,
Yeah.
like you could be in an empty room and out of nowhere you go to sit down and there's just like a person that shows up to push the chair. You drop a napkin and somebody just shows up from under your fucking table to pick up the napkin and fold it and there's a clean one ready to go. Like that experience I had
Yeah.
one time, but I saved up all my money to have it. I'm a foodie though, so I'm really into cooking
Yeah.
as an actual like practice and art form.
Yeah.
I love to just cook for myself. That
Yeah.
came from my upbringing. So I was always inspired and wanted to have one of those quote unquote fine dining experiences. Even though it's insanely egoic, it's very, very like highfalutin, and the people that are in that world are usually killing themselves to be a part of that world. And
Yeah.
then the consumer base is pretty much doing it just to say they did it, like a check off the bucket list kind of thing. But I was actually passionate about culinary arts and about
Mhm.
food in and of itself and farming and the process of creating meals. And just so everyone knows, I'm not like this person that's going to these restaurants for the sake of it. But
Yeah.
after having that experience, I'll cut to the end of the story. After having that experience, it completely changed my life in like the idea of doing something at the highest level.
Yes.
And it's one of the few things you get to experience where you're very, very close to the people who are performing it. Like
Mm.
it's not like the Olympics or some Super Bowl or anything like that. Like these guys have to be, for example, if you're at the Michelin restaurant, every fucking night is the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a regular season and then a playoffs and then a big game. When you're trying to be three Michelin restaurant, every night is the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
There is every minute is the Super Bowl. That's something I had no clue about.
Yeah.
But in order to go from one star to two to three is the difference. It's
Mm,
unbelievable when you learn about that world and the attention to detail and the care. And it made me walk away with a huge list of things that like, oh damn, I need to work on caring more about these little nuances because I know once you make the little things perfect and then you
mm,
reduce the amount of things you do, you're gonna
mm,
deliver something that everyone will believe in or everyone will be inspired by. They will feel the quality in it. And I just say that because the world that we're moving into is going to start using more AI. It's going to
mm,
start allowing machines to create for them.
mm,
And I believe there's so much process that's left on the table in that trade-off that it will be difficult to become excited when
yeah.
you do things. So I know that sounds like a very long-winded way of circling back to my main theme, but it's just if you can become very clear on what excites you and then you commit to doing that thing that excites you, you
Mm,
will become excellent in it
mm,
if you whatever you consume is the takeaway of inspiration. And sometimes it takes putting yourself in a much more extraordinary experience. Like if you want to, I don't know, there's so many ways to chop this up. For me, it was that culinary arts experience. For you, it could have been the days in the 80-pound backpack in the middle of, the desert. These are gonna bring out these things in you that you would have never even known would be possible unless you put yourself into that position.
mm. Oh
While
man.
the average person might say that I wasted money going to this
Yeah.
restaurant, I
Right.
feel like it made me all of my money that I have today. Because
Yeah.
if it wasn't for that experience, I wouldn't have had all of that um, attention to greatness and excellence and what I want to share with my people.
Mm. I love it, man. That's such a good way to explain it because what we consume, if we choose quality over quantity, and that's why I'll take long breaks between eating and I only eat the things that really do it for me and very careful because and same with any entertainment or anything that I'm consuming as far as podcasts or music, it's like if get the slightest feeling that it's not something that I want in my field, I just stop and turn it off. And it feels so good to have that capacity. Because a lot of people, they're just, oh, I'll just listen to the rest of this and maybe it'll be okay. And they just wasted like 90 minutes doing something that they didn't really feel it, right?
Hmm.
So when you understand, Toltecs talk about an impeccable person is like a maverick. They only consume the finest things in life. They become very passionate and they engage their life in a very meaningful way. And so it isn't a waste of money at all. It's an investment in self. And it's a catalyst moment for you that you entered into
Exactly.
an epiphany. It's worth so much, probably more than what you even paid, because
Oh my
money,
God, it's unbelievable. And you're
yeah,
so right. You made the perfect statement. It's an investment in yourself. Thank you for saying that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I am doing too. I'm trusting. I haven't figured out like the balance yet, but I'm setting the intentions and starting to see the areas in which I can resolve like my rebel teen and really step into a more responsible, healthy adult and start to, really allow for what I am offering the world to become cleaner, crisper, more
Mm.
deliverable, so that I can reach more people. And I'm finally coming out of the fear of, you know, uh, marketing or whatever I need to do. I'm open to
Oh, okay.
whatever is needed. And so I'm excited to like be engaging with people that have kind of come out of hiding and aren't retreating into the smallness, but are stepping into, like, hey, I'm here. I have something to offer and I'm willing to shine and be, a bright lighthouse for other people to
Yeah.
experience. And so, it does take stages of different growth edges and thresholds that we cross. But yeah, man, it's been an incredible journey to realize that my attention is my currency and to not get caught in trying to focus on material gain, but instead become wealthy as far as the
Yeah.
experiences that I
Yeah,
have.
experientially.
Yeah. So, and
You admitted something that I think is very powerful, but for the people that are listening, one of the things that we could also summarize here is when somebody is speaking on the rebellious side from their earlier years, this is just anger. And
yeah.
I've worked on this lately, admitting when
Mhm.
I've worked on admitting that I am angry.
Yeah.
And it's super funny because the average person, when they hear me, they're like, "You're so calm. You're so like serene." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, because I've worked towards my anger, but I have it. And where does it stem from?"
Mhm.
And it's so fun for me to talk about it now because I'm not scared, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's like when you stop being scared, you're liberated.
Yeah.
So when I talk about all the stuff that might make me seem like, because everyone in these positions, they're fearful that the audience is gonna look lesser of them. And I don't think that's the case at all. I'm like, the more open that I am about my stuff,
Yeah.
about what I've been going through and what I'm working on,
Hmm.
the more people feel that I'm a piece of them. Like we're all one, bro. Like we're all together. Like we all have this. So the ability to admit that and then see how it's affected
Yeah.
any part of your process.
Mm.
But that's powerful, and we could probably talk a lot about that, but I want to pivot for a second and talk about something that you are also starting to say, which is the putting yourself out there and maybe like the marketing side of you.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
lot of people who come to my work, that's one of the comments that I've heard that they say about me, that like I'm always selling something or whatever, like I'm always marketing myself. And I'm like, of course I'm always marketing myself.
Hmm.
I have information that I could tell, like I have a sentence that could
Mm.
make someone a millionaire. So
Totally.
the money is just what? Like to honestly, I have no emotion tied to it anymore. I
Mm.
used to, but I'll
Mm.
tell you why I was inspired to learn how to market because I grew up in New York City where I remember me and my mom, we would take the train to go to the Lower East Side of Manhattan to go to school. And I would get out of the train as a little kid and I saw homeless people begging for money.
Mm.
And one of the things that happened to me when I was younger was like someone was like kind of violent with my mom, like when
Mm.
I was alone with her, right?
Mm.
And you have to become like a man.
Mm.
You don't even realize that you have to become a man in those moments.
Mm.
So I'm like, I need to protect my mother.
Mm.
I need to protect all the women, technically, depending on
Mm.
the setting.
Mm.
And then at the same time, I'm looking at grown men panhandling, like begging for money with no skill or no thing. Like, there's nothing that I
Wow.
respect more than seeing somebody on the streets playing guitar, singing, or playing the violin or dancing, you know. I love that. I spray paint it, whatever. Like, I love that. I love that. I think that's the coolest shit ever to be like, I'm gonna take my studio to the streets today, you know,
Yeah.
or like I'm gonna skateboard outside because like just do your thing with the people.
Yeah.
That's a form of advertising and marketing. It's just over the past 10 years, it's shifted. It's become easier for everyone. You could do it online now, right? So
Mm.
why not? But you could do
Mm.
both. There's nothing wrong with that, of course.
Exactly.
But I grew up in this way where like single mother and I knew I needed to take care of her and protect her. And I'm not gonna, what am I gonna do? Make up an
Mm.
excuse? Because I have a bunch of like Eastern spiritualism people that are all enlightened trying to tell me that truth
Mm.
should be free. It's like what are you saying? Like, none of y'all are paying my fucking bills. None of y'all are buying my groceries. None of y'all are filling up the gas tank of my car.
Totally.
So what are you saying? Like,
Mm.
what blood did I have to bleed to get this wisdom?
Mm.
You ever think about that?
Mm.
How many self-investments did I have to make to acquire, how many experiences did I have to put myself through in
Mm.
order for you to get this version of me today? So
Mm.
I'm not scared at all of that, but I know that when I speak on this, it makes people's stomachs hurt a little bit. But what it's also going to do is the reason it's making your stomach hurt is the same reason when you're on day 2 of a dry fast why your stomach hurts,
Yeah.
because it's detoxing you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
It
true.
only because anyone who gets what I'm saying, they're like, I, we've worked on that together, like, or we're
Yeah.
in the process of working on that together.
Yeah.
Also, one last thing to say, is that for humanity right now, you need to learn how to market yourself
Mm,
because the economy is changing. And this is my thing. This is what I teach people. This is what the last particularly 2 years of my life has been about, is
mm,
preparing people for a world that will have a completely different system financially. And if you
sure.
do not wake up to that, you're gonna have, and I don't say this out of fear or doom and gloom, but it's going to be tough to navigate that world. No
Mm,
different than the world of like if you were somebody who was dependent on one form of old tech before a
mm,
new form moved in, you watched how much some other people were thriving while you were maybe quote
mm,
unquote not. And I think right now we're moving into a world that's going to have a completely transformed economy, social system in general. We could go there if you want for a little bit, but I want to bring it back to you just to
mm,
wrap that up with like we do need to become more responsible and self-reliant financially right now,
yeah.
or else whatever you're not you, but whatever anyone is complaining about right now about the quote unquote beast system and the taxes and this, that, and the third,
Mm,
bro, they're designing a system where you're not going to have an opinion. Your opinion will not even matter.
mm,
The lawyer won't even matter anymore. That's why
mm,
they're doing what they're doing. It's a full-blown system reset.
mm,
So the beauty, though, final thing I'll say, the beauty of this is for the first time ever, you get to market and sell and take and be incentivized for the exact thing that you want to do.
mm,
It doesn't have to be under some institutional like certificate fucking, academy or university you attended, or it doesn't have to be from your boss. You can be black, white, gay, straight, whatever. It doesn't even, you could be a midget, black, transsexual. It doesn't matter, bro. And
mm,
be as wealthy as you choose to be
mm,
because of this current world.
mm,
So I think that's a gift. And I think if you don't tap into that, it's like you're not tapping into one of the easiest times in history
mm.
to become wealthy.
Yeah. Oh, very cool, man. Yeah, I love hearing you talk about this. And I heard you talk about it with Jason a little bit. And it really is. It's it may look dark, and yet there's always an aspect of what's coming that has a window of opportunity that's associated. And we wouldn't become who we were if it wasn't the way the world is the way it is. We get to become agile, we get to adapt, we get to follow clear messages like what you just shared and allow ourselves to be affected by that level of pressure. Like there's some healthy pressure in the world. Like we need sometimes to be kicked out of the nest, so to speak, in order to go see what we're made of. And so the energy is getting exciting. It's like, yeah, we I can feel the intensity and I get to match that intensity and I get to come out of any old stories that have been keeping me playing small and not wanting to, step fully in and become accessible in the way that is balanced. And so I'm excited for, discovering the new aspects of my being that I will develop when I come out of, the fears that I've been still inside of around that people are going to perceive me in a particular way. And that all just comes from, needing to be validated by people. And as I come out of the need to be validated by people, I become validated directly from source. I become one with the creator force. I'm not looking to other people to reflect to me something that I'm needing to see about myself. And so this is that kind of final stage of becoming liberated. And so I look at everything as everything's happening for us, not to us. And it's just a matter of changing that, coming out of that victimhood mindset, but also not having to go into some extreme victorious ego where you are like putting yourself above people because that's what the Toltecs say is we struggle to land in that neutral zone. We either put ourselves below people or above them. But when you suspend judgment, then you can properly assess people. Like you can notice that this person has a drug problem. It doesn't mean you're judging them. You can just tell by their energy field that they have an addiction that's draining their energy. And
Right.
so when you're neutral, you're not talking shit and you're not a
Right.
hater. You're just being a reflective surface that is a mirror. You're able to see what's going on. And that is a real unique, almost like superpower to have because most people are, they're either jealous or they're trying to convince themselves that because that guy is so hot or she's so attractive that therefore their ego is out of balance and then they talk shit. It's all
Right.
just like shit talk and all this hater stuff. But like what you're saying about the skateboarder, like you're celebrating him.
Right.
You're like, dude, fuck yeah, man.
Celebrating excellence.
Yeah. And if we had more of that, we could just all it would be so much more powerful. But it's cool that I know you now and I know a few other people that are on the same page, and that's enough.
Correct.
Yeah.
But you also need to be courageous enough to expose this because when you say
Yeah.
these things, people are also, they're kind of like similar to the money thing. Like a lot of people,
Yeah.
I believe, have been attracted to my art because they know I have this confidence in the money, whatever it is. I don't
Yeah.
even know anymore really what to call it because I just look at money as it's all things. Like people, for example, they're like, coffee is bad for you. I'm like, have you ever been to a coffee farm? Have you ever like seen the way the Ethiopian women like pick the coffee cherries? Do you know
Right.
what season the coffee cherries grow?
Mm.
Have you ever seen the processing method where they remove the mucilage and have you ever seen the natural process of how coffee is um taken from fruit to bean?
Mm.
Like, do
No.
you know anything? Is the question. Do
Right.
you see when Ethiopian people make coffee, they burn frankincense because it rises the vibrational frequency?
Beautiful.
So when I see that, I immediately disregard anything that some scientism has to teach me about cortisol or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you give man a microscope, you give man instruments, and he destroys man's mind
Oh,
and removes man from nature. The
totally.
last thing, the last time I checked, the coffee fruit grows from a shrub out of Mother Nature.
Yeah.
Sure, man has also applied his scientism to the land to corrupt the land and no
Mm.
longer make it heirloom, no
Mm.
longer make it in its natural form. We could admit that. We know that,
Mhm.
right? But we take all of that glory away. We remove God,
Mm.
essentially.
Mm.
Like I could just end the thing there. We remove, when you say coffee is bad, you remove God.
Yeah.
I know it sounds tough for people, especially religious people, but it's just what it is.
Yeah.
And I struggle looking at life that way. But I know I was brought here to make man realize that you don't need to look at life that way. You don't
Mm.
need to operate in duality consciousness of the good and the bad. There's
Mhm.
so much more to it, right? So when I look at a coffee from a money perspective, I'm thinking of the supply chain. I'm thinking of if I could find a company that's transparent about how much they bought the green coffee for from origin, then
Mhm.
now like the coffee companies that I buy from, they name the coffee after the farmers
Mm.
that own the farm,
Mm.
which in some cases might just be a man and a woman.
Mm.
It's not some big conglomerate corporation tied to Starbucks or whatever. And when you see that level of transparency, you're essentially investing in that supply chain.
Yeah.
So you're not just buying coffee, you are paying Daniel Hernandez from Honduras.
Yeah.
In some way, that money is trickling down all the way to the other side. The same way, like I might have had to pay Zoom for this
Mm.
technology to be able to do enough long-term Zoom calls so we're
Mm.
not capped at an hour. I can sit around and I could penny pinch and I could think about how that investment worked for me and I could think about how evil Zoom is or whatever the fuck people want to assume. But then you
Yeah.
just end up in this reality where like you're no longer thinking about God. You're no longer thinking about source.
Mm.
Just like
Beautiful.
accept that everything is one and stop turning everything into good or bad. And hopefully this little rant, like it inspires people to think about how they're putting their money into the quote unquote system.
Mm.
Instead of saying I don't have enough money for a coffee, say
Mm.
that I do have enough and I will invest in the farmers who are a
Mm.
part of this process. the truck drivers who were a part of this You know, it's so funny. People are like trying to, they love the truck drivers. They're like, we don't want them to lose their jobs. You love them so much. Okay, well, you do realize that every time you get all in these lower chakras and so opinionated and judgmental about these commodities and these
Yeah.
very like important cash crops to certain, you know, equatorial nations, you're basically fucking the entire ecosystem that brings it from origin to you or to us, which
Mm-hmm.
includes many other things. So I think these are things people don't think about too much, and that's why scientism was created. It's to remove God and put you solely in the numbers and the digits. And it's ironic because a lot of my work works with gematria, numerology, and if I didn't have this consciousness that I'm operating with first and foremost, the gematria numerology shit would be irrelevant. It would have no meaning. It would have no power behind it.
Yeah.
So I think that's something worth talking about too for anyone who's interested in the numbers. Like you can't give the numbers power because they don't. They don't have any. 666 doesn't have power. The
Mm-hmm.
number 30, the number 33 doesn't have power. None of these
Mm-hmm.
numbers have power.
Yeah.
We, man gives it power
Sure.
so that man doesn't have God anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Nature doesn't have 33.
Mm-hmm.
You are not 40 whatever years old. You're not 25 years old. We just calculate these things because somebody set a standard of that calculation. They tied
Sure.
it to astrology or what the sun does in
Mm-hmm.
some fixed interval. We don't even know what the sun is.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know what the sun is. And
Yeah.
yet we just all agree on it. We agree that it's 2026.
Yeah.
So I hope people start to think about some of these things when they think about money, when they think about their bank accounts, because I know this sounds long-winded and strange, but there's so many people right now that are going to listen to this that are like, oh man, I only have $1,000 in my bank account. I don't have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting your focus and your attention and then your identity around that you don't have a lot of money. What are you saying? Just
Yeah.
the fact that you could have that opinion, just the fact that you have a fucking bank account proves that you have a lot.
Yeah.
If you're
Exactly.
listening to this right now, that means you have internet access, which means you feel I could keep going,
Yeah.
but I'll
Exactly.
pause there. I'll pause there because I think these are some thoughts that people can meditate on
Mm-hmm.
later. You know, just think about it a little bit more because we're all going to relate to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Thank you. It's super empowering message, and it really is, like currency is meant to be, it's meant to move, right? We're meant to s- not hoard the money, but to be part of the system and so that it can flow. And so if you want your favorite restaurant to be there next year, you might want to go be a patron at that restaurant because you had a powerful experience there with your girlfriend, then you're contributing. And then something magical is going to happen to you every time you go there once you understand the simplicity of experiencing things. You can't take your money with you, but you do potentially get to take your experiences with you. And even
Mm,
that's up for question because according to the Toltecs, there's like almost like a mind wipe that happens every lifetime, and then you come back and
yeah,
you forgot. But maybe
yeah.
there's a way to take these experiences and go into the ultimate ride of death and like bring it into to your afterlife and continue in a direction that is evolutionary rather than what we call
Have,
the
ha
Toltecs say that we're in a like an eddy where the water got trapped in the river and it just keeps creating this whirlpool, but
right.
it was meant to go to the ocean.
Have you ever heard of that show Aries?
No.
It was on Netflix a while ago. It was a Dutch series.
Hmm.
You might find it interesting because of the last couple of statements you made regarding the like mind wipe and the memories and also this whirlpool, because
Yeah.
that's all part of it. And there's definitely some symbolism. But the brief synopsis of the show is obviously there's this main character that is getting lured into a nefarious kind of secret society, and she is very intrigued and enticed by what they're up to. She
Mm,
makes it to being a part of it,
mm,
and then the whole show starts being all based around this like black goo, which is
mm.
it's been a theme in Hollywood for a while, but
Yeah.
now people are waking up to this symbolism. this
Mm,
black goo. And I think, when they talk, when people talk about like in the process of death, you go towards the light or you go towards
mm,
this. I think everything I'll call them the apex predator, like whatever you guys want to call them, the apex predator, they flex on us everything.
yeah,
Everything is a flex. Like
yeah,
using the hexagram as the symbol of the Israeli flag. This is all flex. This is
yeah,
not evil. This is not positive. This is not magical. It's
yeah,
just, in my opinion, it's a flex. It's like we all do flexing in some weird way, shape, or form, and they are like if you think a guy wearing gold chains and having grills and like Gucci loafers, if you think that's a flex,
right,
putting the fucking hexagram on the flag of Israel, that's a flex.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you know about symbolism, you know anything. Like this
totally.
is how I look at reality on that. Like what I don't even try to put much of my prana into, but it's there. It's in the
Yeah,
field and I have to address it as a decoder. But coming
mm,
back to the Aries show, I think the black goo is not evil. It's nothing negative. It's
mm,
I'm waking up like my intuition is drawing me to the black goo is where you want to go. It's not about going to the light. It's going to, and this is going to fuck people up because so many people think it's the opposite.
yeah,
But as Oscar Wilde says, everything popular is wrong. It's
yeah,
always the opposites that are typically on the path towards truth. So
mm-hmm,
I think the flex is the black goo
sure,
because the black goo is representative of no mind wipe,
mm,
of eternity, like
mm-hmm,
like a vortex of everything.
mm,
The black goo is what we call God.
mm,
It is everything and nothing.
mm,
It is not it's not solid, it's not liquid.
mm, mm,
The way it reflects everything about it, bro, it is everything. And
mm,
I'm realizing this now that what we you just made me like get super excited because you have your angle on the Toltecs and that knowledge, and I don't get to meet many people that do. So
mm,
I know this was all planned for us to get
yeah,
together beyond that. And it's making me think, okay, everybody is just smashing their head against the wall, thinking about their exit strategy,
yeah,
like what they're gonna do with it. Again, nobody wants to die. We started our conversation there. Nobody wants to die. Everyone wants to live forever. The black goo concept to me is you go into the vortex of every experience and everything, not only for you, but
mm,
all the vessels that you've occupied, all the vessels that you will occupy. You
mm,
take on the opportunity to perhaps choose
mm,
what you'll do
mm.
instead of be just forcefully brought back into like kind of like Grand Theft Auto where when you die you're respawned at the hospital again. Another flex by the New World
Yeah,
Order. Like they're doing this all on purpose.
yeah,
So we could assume that this black goose shit is so Illuminati, negative, whatever. But my mind immediately goes to like it's the projector for the light, the black.
yeah,
Without like you look at your cell phone when it's on standby, it's black. You turn it
mm-hmm,
on, the light shines through it. You look at your computer, it's black. The light shines through it.
mm,
We are in a simulation, like we're in a simulacrum, and we're dealing with how how we're predicting we'll go through this beyond the body. I
mm,
think that's what every ancient mystery school, what every, you know, the Toltecs, no matter what, you could Egyptian, Canaanite, Babylonian,
mm,
biblical shit. It's all kind of talking about what we're doing here, why we're here, and where we'll go when we're no longer in this thing called Joel, right? It all just summarizes to the same outcome. And then
mm,
I continuously see Hollywood flexing this black goo. I
mm,
continuously see decoders and so-called enlightened people calling it evil and it's
mm,
so bad. And look at the Kaaba stone. It's the black cube. Look at the rabbi wears the black cube on his forehead. They are fucking flexing you. You see this tefillin where they wrap it around the wrist?
mm,
That's the whirlpool of the black.
mm, yeah,
I am getting much closer to realizing that because everybody keeps confirming it for me, no matter if I talk to somebody on a brand new topic or I talk to somebody on something that I have a base awareness in.
yeah.
It's really, really powerful stuff. And the final thing about this idea that I realized recently, everything with this technocratic world order and the idea of becoming transhumanist is leading to the idea of utopia where you never die. Immortality, right? And we're all trying to not die. Some
Mm,
of us lie to ourselves and we say we'll be healthy so we don't die.
mm,
Funny, right? That when people are healthy, they die at like 55. You know, like the people that give their most to health somehow get a stroke or whatever.
yeah.
So, jokes aside, we're all trying to not die. So the most important resource is your time here.
Mm,
You talk to a billionaire who's dying, they don't care about their billion anymore. They just want more time.
yeah.
Everyone wants more time. So I believe that the tech that they're designing in the world and the infrastructure that they're building out is to create an experience where maybe we do get more time. But then in the
Mm,
event where you get more time, even if it's just 5 years, the economy based in money starts to lose its value
mm,
because money is the only thing that keeps us going to
mm,
achieve a high, quote unquote, high quality of life in
mm,
a 70 or 80-year time span. But if I said you could live to 120,
mm,
the economy would have to completely go through a transformation because a woman who gets menopause at 100 now
mm,
or 90
yeah.
will probably not maybe want kids at all anymore.
Right.
You know, like because that is a thing for women. They get to an older age and out of nowhere they shift their entire purpose on this earth to want to have kids. And it makes sense because of that biological clock being against them. So
Yeah.
that's not anything negative, ladies. I'm just speaking truth right now. Like it is what
Mm,
it is. I met so many women that they start getting older and they pick really poor quality partners just for the sake of having kids
for
because of
sure.
that biological clock. So if we were to increase the age to 120 for
Mm,
everybody, time will become the currency. And my
mm,
theory, alongside this black goo theory, is that when you live forever, that's the soul trap.
mm,
You are now locking soul in this physical body that we call Joel now forever.
mm,
So when you upload your mind to a cloud, for example,
mm,
or you upload your consciousness to a cloud,
mm.
that's the true soul trap. So people think that we're in a soul trap or some like prison planet or this, that, or the third. I don't look at life like it's a prison, first of all.
Yeah. Me neither.
But Hollywood is giving us so many of these little like Easter eggs of what is really happening, whether that be we call it predictive programming or
Hmm.
not. I think it's because they're not creative. Because they're not creative, they have to keep retelling you the same fucking story over and over again. And
Sure.
whenever they find people who are actually creative, they have to control them, like with
Mm,
mind control. And then
hmm.
they turn them into like actual like puppets.
Yeah.
So that's a very wild thing for you to mention about the Toltecs and the whirlpool and all of this, because that show Aries literally shows you that that the biggest, most important influential cult is worshiping a black pool that is a whirlpool that just continuously spins forever.
Mhm.
And they're swallowing this ball that's like coated in this black goo. And once you swallow it, you like become one of them
Mm.
and you become the black goo.
Mm.
And that is for me their way of being like, you can never get what we get.
Mm.
You guys get the thing called death. And
Mm.
then we're eventually going to give you the thing called immortality.
Mm.
We get to choose what vessel we want to be in whenever the fuck we want.
Mm. Wow.
That is the biggest that's called being like a god in a way. Like not
Yeah.
the god, but that's like being a god. To be
Right.
like, I can be a woman tomorrow. I can
Mm.
be a black man tomorrow. I could be, and I'm not saying just call yourself that. I mean
Yeah.
legitimately take on the form of.
Yes. Oh, yeah, man. I agree. That's amazing that I'm glad you're able to decode this stuff in that way. And I agree. It is, these are super, these flexes, these, what I just always say, this so gangster, what they do. And it is very powerful to come to terms with. And I do think, the lack of creativity and then the transparency, like they do, are showing us what it is that they're intending. And For the Toltecs, it isn't about going into the light. You actually become one with the dark. It's the most powerful thing that you can do is to be swallowed by the vastness of the nothing. So
There
there's
you
that,
go.
yeah. And then you prepare yourself through being able to, you create, you bring your attention into focus so that you can and not only enter into the blackness and the void and the darkness, but you do so in total silence. There is a way, what Toltecs call silent knowledge, where you don't have to use thoughts. Everything is feeling based, and you
Yeah.
get to operate directly from these incredible feelings that flow through you, which are coming directly from source. Like we're not alone in this process. So if we can clean our container, our vessel, and
Mm,
empty enough to receive the guidance, then we'll be totally ushered through this most incredible process. And the sorcerers that I trained with said there's two types of power. There's power in this life and power in the afterlife. Sorcerers that seek freedom aren't looking to have power here. They're looking to have power in the continuity of their experience beyond this training ground that our souls came into to develop. But there is a way to merge with eternity. They call it the somersault of thought into the inconceivable, where you bounce from vision to vision to vision for as long as the Earth Mother is alive. And so I think there's a lot on the line here. I think this lifetime isn't just one of many, and we shouldn't assume that we get another shot at this. I think our ability to get truly silent and become energetically powerful, physically and energetically, then we'll be able to handle this transformation that is going to, reveal to us that there's so much more to what we are. And then we come out of that cycle of being constantly recycled from one lifetime into another. And I don't think that those past lives are actually past lives. I think they're parallel. They're happening
hmm
simultaneously with this life. And if we can become conscious as lucid dreamers or in our meditation or whatever it is that we do to come into contact directly to source, then we can merge with that which we perceive as beautiful. We become beautiful ourselves the more beauty we see. The Toltecs say this is a world of terror and beauty, and the beauty balances the terror. But you have to be willing to look at the terror without being
Right.
consumed by what's happening. That's what a lot of people call it being black pilled to the point that they're dysfunctional. But, I'm fully in this place of just believing that it's all a miracle. To me, it's a miracle that we exist. And to me, it's about falling in love with the opportunity to become your own independent being within a realm that is so conditioned to make sure that you stay within the ranks of certain mindsets or certain programs. So this is real work that we're doing here. It's actually making a difference, and the soul trap thing. I'm seeing more and more people buy into that concept, but
Yeah.
it's just an excuse, and it's sad and painful, and it's
Right.
causing so much disconnection. Just because there's a simulated construct happening doesn't mean that you have to be captured by it. It's just like an overlay, and
It's anger.
mm,
When you have anger, you need everyone else to be angry too.
yeah, for sure,
So you need to make them all victims
yeah,
because you yourself still want to be one as well.
totally. Yeah, yeah. Like life's so amazing, and I just want everyone to find that out for themselves, and learn to you know,
It
um,
literally is, bro. Like it makes me emotional thinking about it. Like every day, if you wake up and you don't realize how amazing this is,
yeah,
like I, just being able to listen to music is amazing.
I know.
Like it's so sick. Like I was just thinking about it the other day. I was listening to Nirvana and
Yeah,
I'm like I'm so like happy that I get to listen to this.
totally.
Like I could listen to anything I want right now. Like that's
Yeah.
so amazing to just be able to and like now when because of the way we interact with art, it's
Mm,
so convenient and it's taken out that excitement
Mm,
I was just watching the Spotify kind of it's like a dramatized series about how Spotify came to be. And when you're seeing how that was invented and
mm,
every new person that used it clicks the song and immediately starts playing, and it's like you're seeing somebody look at the Northern Lights.
yeah,
Like they are literally pissing their pants. They're like, how? It's not downloading, it's not buffering. How is this possible? This is a miracle. Now we get to watch anything. We watch live streams, bro. We get to watch the live, like unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And we like watching that series, it helped me realize how I've even taken listening to music for granted, and I'm a fucking musician. I
yeah,
actually know how to play music. I know
yeah.
how to write music. And because of these devices and how convenient it's gotten and like the package that it's all in, we're no longer feeling it anymore. It's just like it's happening and it's like hearing but not listening. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it too well, but
No, that's it.
I
Yeah.
think that's the other side of the black cube concept that most people look at as the evil thing. Like they call the computer or the television or whatever, that's the black cube, you know? And in a
Mm,
lot of ways, that's true, but it's still proving my same point that it's the access into everything.
mm,
Just as you were saying before, it's into the darkness is everything. That's
mm,
God. It's
mm,
everything and nothing.
mm,
And I know that's like, you're sharing your thing about the excitement, and I definitely want to hang out more there about just how amazing it is that
mm,
we all get to like even talk with each other right now. Like I don't even need to be I can choose to be in the same room as you, sure, but I'm so glad that I could literally have this conversation at
mm,
any time as long as our schedules align and you would like to, it's
mm,
possible.
mm,
This is a gift, and I think we need to think of that more. Like I think everyone should think about somebody that is on their mind right now and contact them and just tell
mm.
them that you love them, like you appreciate them. Just say I appreciate you.
Yeah.
And you'll feel so much fucking prana running through your body just from doing that act.
Uh,
And I think we skip out on that a lot because we go straight to consumption in the day and we avoid communication.
mm, beautiful. Yeah, man, thank you for saying that. I agree. It's very, very careful with my attention and my time, and I'm very fluid and I am in communication with the sun and with the earth and with the trees and I experience non-linear communication a lot. And so it's very psychedelic to just understand that that's available, whatever mysterious way in which one might interpret that. But I believe that these things are conscious. That doesn't mean there's not a simulation construct associated. It's just that I think that these emanations produce communication through the core of what things are, and everything has an energetic source. But I chase live music. Like I have almost like a live music addiction to be in the crowd,
Nice.
dancing. I get really into particular bands and I follow them all over the country. And
Oh, really?
spirit yeah, I get guided throughout the traveling, like all these signs and omens and doors and people, it's like because I make that commitment to that adventure, then I'm jumping in an experience that I don't think people know how incredible it is to really allow yourself to fall in love with a band and to be in a live music situation where they're feeding off the crowd and therefore they're playing that much more better. Like all the bands I listen to are improvisational. They never play the same song twice. I mean, they
Oh,
play the
wow.
same songs, but they jam in different ways and take it into different
Right.
areas and psychedelic music, right? So this relationship that and so a lot of people are like, well, there's no good music these days, and it used to be good, now it's bad. It's like, no, no, it's just you just got to go out in the world and meet
It's
people.
just you're inundated with content and you don't know what to find.
Yeah,
There's too much.
yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when people make those statements, I've even been saying this sometimes by mistake. Like
yeah,
there's no good movies anymore, for example, because
sure.
I'm not getting the thing that I want from the immediate, like it's not happening immediately. But
Yeah,
there's some Japanese director right now who's making like who's was inspired by Scorsese or
Yeah.
whatever, and like is making his Yakuza version of like an Italian mob movie, and it's probably
Yeah.
gnarly. It's probably
Yeah.
dope, and you just don't know
I
because
know.
there's so much fucking content right now.
So
Um
true.
yeah, man. And I
Well,
think that's been tough also as well to navigate the realm right now.
yeah.
Just too much. People
Yeah.
go on YouTube and they're like, I don't know where to get started. And
Yeah.
that's a big piece to like my last couple of years has been teaching people how to create businesses, how to become an entrepreneur, how to
Yeah.
take what they're passionate about or excited about and convert that into something that can incentivize them.
Mhm.
And that's like my mission moving forward. So one of the biggest excuses I hear from people getting started is everyone's doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like that whole everyone knows already what I'm talking about.
Right.
And I'm like, have you listened to pop music? Because the top 10 songs on the Billboard right now are literally the same fucking song. And somehow people care about that shit.
Yeah. Totally.
So why are you making that excuse? Because
Well,
no one's saying it your way. No one's saying it with your character. Nobody's saying it. So my biggest piece of advice to those people is be funny, be
mm,
serious, be playful,
mm,
be willing to bother people,
yeah.
curse, do whatever you want to do, express without filters. And when
Hmm.
you express without a filter,
Mm,
people are gonna feel like you're the voice that they were waiting for,
yeah.
as opposed to the voice they were trying to find.
Yeah.
See,
Totally.
when you're a creator and you create because you're trying to have people find you,
Mm,
you're setting yourself up for failure. If
hmm.
you want to set yourself up for success, just obviously create what you want to create, but be aware that if you're doing it your way, there's somebody that's been waiting for that.
Yeah.
You're like flipping the psychology around or something.
Mm,
But that trick is something that I've been utilizing for myself because we all go through this thing called imposter syndrome,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe not you, maybe not me, but my point is that I have a ton of clients that are like, I want to create something awesome, but I feel like an imposter. And I'm
Hmm.
like, why? Because I don't think I'm as good as this other person. It's like, what metric are you? What, how do you determine that?
Mm. Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. When you
I,
stop comparing yourself and just get really honest about the feelings that you want to feel and what does it for you, what you're passionate about, and you just have to begin and explore the feeling, the intensity. But it takes courage just to admit what you want and then to follow through. And it's okay to fail. Like as long as you're doing everything in your power to be authentic and you're really in love with your process, then you're not going to be beat up if it doesn't work. But it is going to work as long as you keep going, and people give up right when it's about to the break when they're about to cross the threshold.
yep,
It's just the way this place is designed. And so Toltecs talk about having this thing called unbending intent. First you develop a relationship with intent, and then it becomes unbending. And then nothing is in the way anymore. You are focused, you're able to accomplish whatever you set out to do. But that's where it starts to get scary because you become powerful and you start to feel feelings you've never felt. You start to have relationships get healthier than you ever thought were possible. And you're in now a new territory where you're like having to learn how to receive abundance and love in a way that you haven't. And it's an incredible thing to enter into, but ultimately people are addicted to their suffering. That's why they make excuses and stay hidden and don't really get vulnerable enough to be the authentic voice that people are waiting to hear from.
that's beautiful, man. Yeah, I think that's a big talking point right now that a lot of people are, because some people might have heard what I said earlier of like, how could I possibly navigate this world financially and be more self-reliant? It's pretty much what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Like it's exactly that. And I want to see more people express. I feel
Mm,
like people are avoiding expression.
yeah.
My realization is again, I my base philosophy is not that people are asleep.
Hmm.
It's not like they're not thirsty for
Mm,
knowledge and awareness. It's that they're nervous.
yeah.
they're nervous and they're like operating in this way where if they were given the truth, they wouldn't even know what to do with, like they wouldn't know how to like it would be like handing them hot rocks. They would just
Mm,
immediately drop it and be like, "You fucking burned my hand," you know?
mm,
And
mm,
it's like, well, the thing about truth is like we do walk on hot coals. Like we
mm,
get comfortable in the ice bath. We get comfortable on day 3 of a dry fast. Like we get comfortable in this shit. Like we love this shit. I fucking love that pain. If you
yeah,
don't ever get to that point, then like why are you even trying for truth?
mm,
So my
mm,
whole thing is don't even glorify truth.
mhm.
It's not about that. It's like you can be the most talented musician in the world, but like one of the best feelings is that crowd.
Yeah.
Is where the people are feeling the energy that you're creating as a unit, as an organism. It's not that the band is the body, it's that the body includes the audience. We're
Mhm.
just like I think the master is just the barking dog,
Yeah.
but it's still a fucking dog. Like we all are kind of operating with some relationship of I hit the ball towards you, you hit it back. It's just ping pong.
Sure.
And when it stops having value actually is when it becomes like even more awesome. Like
Mm,
that's the point of what we were talking about a little bit earlier about the whole being better than, or like I think we got into it a little bit with marketing. And
mm,
obviously the very early part of the conversation with the like taking the Uber and just trying to understand this guy more. Like, who are you? What are you like? I want to learn more about your culture. I want to learn what got you here, like all of that. It's not about making him better than me now. It's about
right.
I'm removing the importance altogether.
Mm,
I don't value you as an Uber driver. You don't value me as a whatever entrepreneur, whatever. We're just two men like experiencing this moment right now, and it's all good, you know?
mm,
So I think taking value away from all of this stuff is how we get to that pearl. Like it's
mm,
like we get to the value by avoiding the value from the start. It's the same thing with creating. Don't
mm,
create because you want to be special. Don't create because you want the audience to dance. Like I've
mm,
heard this shit before from an electronic music guy. He was like, I make songs and then I see if they dance to it. And then if they don't dance to it, I stop playing the songs. And I
mm,
was like, that's the most slave shit I've ever heard in my life because you're basically calling the crowd your master.
mhm.
Where are you at, bro?
Mm.
Maybe they're not dancing because you're not even feeling your own music. Bro,
Yeah.
if you play the a piece of shit composition, but you're feeling it,
Yeah.
people will look at you feeling it and they will take on that energy. But if
Yeah.
you're creating in a way where you're just like always waiting for the feedback,
Mm,
that's a horrifying life. So I've been through that myself in multiple
mm,
bands where I've had bands where like I did realize I was making art because I wanted them to sing the lyrics to the songs or I wanted them to dance at a certain part or I wanted them to do and that was I was a child, you know?
mhm.
I was waiting for daddy to tell me good job, son. I was waiting for mom to be like good job, because that's all we're doing. We're reflecting it back on those childhood experiences of validation.
Yeah.
Then I got to the point where I started making art that I knew was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Going and doing a part that was like a salsa part after like like a faster part because I knew that the audience wouldn't they would like lock up,
Yeah. Yeah.
like if you like listen to the Mars Volta or something, you'll get this kind of idea where it's
Sure.
just all of these different parts in it. And when you watch that band perform, you can feel that they fucking feel what they've created.
Yeah.
They're not concerned with what the audience is doing.
Mm,
And that's true art to me. Like
mm.
even Picasso, like when he got to his later stages in life and he was drawing like a fucking kindergartner, like he got to that place where he was like, I can do whatever I want now. That's the most liberating thing. And people could judge that and say, like, look, his art just got shittier over the years. And I don't agree with that at all. I think his art just became more art over the years. It was just the expression of where he was at that stage of his life. When
Mm,
you get older, don't you feel like you get simpler and
mm,
more like your refinement is so refined that you become more like a syrup in a way. Like you become a little bit more aware of what you really are. You're not trying to become what they want you to be. So I love the conversation behind the intent because
yeah.
that was my statement before of like as creators, you need to be careful. I think we should be careful with our intent about it's about them.
Mm.
I think we should be very selfish, in my opinion, because when you're selfish and authentic and genuine, you're going to get genuine audience, and then they're not going to be followers. They're
Mm.
not going to be the ones that are waiting for you to tell them like, "Oh, the drop is coming, so you need to do this dance now." Like that's insane.
Yeah.
You're basically just a slave at that point. So
Mm.
we can be consumers in a way and we could be creators in a way where there's this symbiosis and like we're all authentically navigating this present moment, this now moment in a way where there's a shared energy exchange. And I believe that was what you were talking about.
Yeah. Oh man, thank you. It's amazing. Like, yeah, anyone creating content, music, art, like what Rick Rubin talks about is he's like a famous songwriter
Yep.
dude, and it's just like your creation has to be for you. Just pretend you're making it just for the joy of making it. Just imagine it never even reaches anyone's ears. You need to love what you make. And if that's how it feels, then you're not focused on the people and then that's the best material that comes out is when people are being selfish and they're doing it for them. And so a lot of this life, everything's inverted. People
Yeah.
think that when you are going inward and you're healing yourself and you're not giving your attention to all these people that are needing it, that that's selfish. And yeah, it is, but it's because you are have to be the priority. And if you can heal yourself, then you'll be giving permission to other people to do the same. But if you're constantly giving and draining yourself and not reclaiming your power, then you're going to just get used and abused, and then you won't be able to be of service long term. So people project all these ideas of what spiritual people are supposed to do, or what they're supposed to charge or not charge, or whatever stories that they're in, but it's almost everything is upside down because the world is it's flipped. It's like it's a hijacked system. And so it's not even that hard to just realize that everything we've been told is probably about 180 degrees from the truth. And so we travel along that circle to get to the other side. And it's actually ends up being quite simple, but we become addicted to complexity. We think we're in a complex situation, therefore we need a complex solution. But if we become complex, then the solution isn't more complexity, it's simplicity. And that Jack Kerouac wrote, "Someday the words will come and they will be very simple."
Yeah.
And that's just really where I'm heading. It's like I'm going to be able to just not need to be validated by anyone. Therefore, I'll be able to express myself completely in the most simple terms and they'll be felt. And that'll be really, just a real healing process to be inside of.
1,000,000%. I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, like how complexity is problems.
Mm, yeah.
Like it could only be complex if if it's oriented around problem.
Mm,
So simplicity is just I don't want to say necessarily that simplicity is the answer. I think
mm,
a lot of people would make that assumption. I think simplicity is more the beingness. It's more like the it is rather than it has to be attached onto the identity of answer. Because when you say
yeah,
answer, now it has to have a problem, right?
yeah, yeah, right,
Naturally.
yeah.
So you sort of skip out on this whole like problem solution reality and you operate in something where, well, why would there even be a problem to begin with unless I designed it, unless I
Hmm.
generated it? Like we are generators, organizers, and essentially designers. I don't know
Hmm.
if I could call us destroyers. I like
Hmm.
designer more because designer requires sometimes tearing down.
Yeah.
Sometimes you start a project and it's not a stable structure and it's a requirement for you to be honest and say, I got to get rid of that. You know?
Hmm. Hmm.
That's why I love making music so much because I don't get compensated for making music.
Right.
I just get to have it. Like it's just like my own little thing that I keep private and I love to just have it in the background. It's my like meditation in a lot of ways. And when
Beautiful.
I make music, I realize that because of my starting point in my journey where I wanted to become a musician and it just didn't align with, I
Mm.
guess, where I was destined to be.
Mm.
Um, I had to work really hard at getting over that failure of
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm not able to figure out how to be in that world of getting compensated for making music. Um, and now today, and I don't say this egoically, I say this because it's just the truth of the matter. Today, I could easily be compensated for my music because I
Right.
would just have to put it out there. That's
Right.
all. And
Yeah.
I choose not to because like I love it being this like little thing that I get to and a lot of people are mad at me for that because they're like, just share your music. We would love to hear it. And I get it, guys. But
Yeah.
I keep going back to these things of like even I struggle sometimes with making music because I'm like, will someone else like this? Or will
Mm.
someone else understand this?
Mm.
So when I'm making certain songs, I'm like, will someone understand this? Because I have to speak in a way where I need people to understand me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can sit around and talk in this very complex, like, you know what I said earlier, this like razzle dazzle, like this, I can create all these crazy, strung together big words. I could
Sure.
show you my whole lexicon and I could make you feel like, oh, he's so smart. But I've learned over time that no one walks away from those conversations with any utility. So
Mm-hmm.
I've shifted up my methodology over the past 5 years to be like, I want to be simple so that there's a lot of quotable moments so that people walk away from listening to me,
Mm-hmm.
remembering a lot of the shit that I said.
Mm-hmm.
Just like if you eat at an amazing restaurant, you honestly, you almost never remember the food you ate. You only remember the waiter you had.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that fascinating?
Mm-hmm.
Because at some point, the mind just can't walk away with enough memories. This is
Mm.
why bands formulate their entire set around the final song, because they
Mm.
know you're not going to remember the first four.
Yeah.
They just need to get you going in the beginning, warm you up. Then they need to hit you somewhere in the middle with something that kind of like wakes you back up because you're probably
Sure.
it's sick, but it's the way it works.
Yeah.
Movies are designed this way to have that sort of pace. And that's
Mm.
why when you see a movie or listen to a body of music or see a piece of art that you've never seen before, like it's a brand new thing,
Mm.
you feel so renewed in your energy because you're like, oh my God, I've never seen this. Are you into skateboarding, bro? Like still?
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
I was just gonna because this I found a skateboarder recently who is literally the most unbelievably unique skateboarder I've ever watched. I don't know his real name, but it's Philo Sofia, Filosofia. He's a skateboarder from Brazil, I think, and his style is so unbelievable. And I've never seen anyone skate like him before. And again, I'm not a skater, but he rejuvenated my vibe of like
yeah.
he's just doing his own fucking thing. Like
Oh.
he has no rules, no like he's doing the craziest like 1 foot wall rides on the sides
Wow.
of curbs. Like
Yeah.
craziest style, just the weirdest shit. And I hope this inspires people to be like, be you.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Never be selfless because you never want to be less of self. Be every part of
Yeah.
yourself and you'll unlock this type of this flavor, this taste, this
Mm.
this this thing that everyone actually has been waiting to see,
Yeah.
been waiting to feel, been waiting to hear. I know I've kind of gone on a tangent, but this is the
No.
most exciting thing for me to talk about because it opens up to be like instead of you're all limited and you're all in a prison planet and you're all stuck in something where you need to learn how to use AI or else you'll go broke.
Mm.
That's insane. That's bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's still a homie skateboarding right now, which is like no technology required to do this
Yeah.
thing. And he's
Totally.
probably taking care of himself, doing really well, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people in the world that are just like so entertained and inspired, and they're looking up to that. And you're never gonna want to watch some fucking humanoid robot do this shit. It'll be impressive for like a couple minutes,
Yeah.
and then you'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something timeless that gets removed in the process. So I
Mm.
want people to just do whatever it is that they want to do the thing. Maybe if you're not ready to share it with the world, that's fine, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But I think the best thing to do is maybe share it with the world because if you feel like you shouldn't, then that's probably something it's telling you you need to do, right?
Mm. Mm,
Like that shyness is a quality that a lot of people can get over. Last thing I'll say, you've probably met many great people that are so fucking great, but they just never want to show it.
mhm.
They call themselves humble. And it's like, damn, so you came to this earth realm and you're gonna call yourself humble and now we don't get to enjoy your
Right.
greatness? Like,
Right?
fuck, bro. Like, I think you should be fuck humble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you'll help so many more people in this world, like without that humble mess.
Mm,
It's again, it's like the killing the ego psyop. I think they're both dumb. So if
yeah.
people want to hear me and they want to say that I'm not humble, it's like I'm okay with that. That's
Right.
fine. You know,
Yeah.
that's fine by me. I
Yeah.
remember all the times that I was acting humble and I
Mm,
had no you I was useless. Like I
mhm,
had no I was bored. I was
mm,
boring. I had nothing about me that I was expressing.
yeah. Oh man, thank you. So much, so many nuggets there that are key. Like when, when I go out to music, I go so into my own world that there might as well not even be a crowd there because what I'm experiencing is a total expression of my being, and I'm dancing in a way that nobody's ever witnessed before. And people come up to me and they're like, "How do you move your body like that? How are you in such an altered state and still, being able to like it's just so intense for people and they're just so thankful." And they just, and I have to be very careful because I'm in such a trance that they're kind of trying to pull me out just to not talk about it. But I heal myself through the total and complete expression. I don't hold back. I get to become, like a piece of the music. I am like conducting the music through my body, through the dance. So I'm liberating my energy. And it's almost like martial arts meeting shamanic movement, meeting dance. And I get into these altered states in which my vision opens up and I'm able to see my future. I'm able to see what I'm here to do. I'm given guidance and shown things. So I heal myself by going on these adventures and chasing the thing that I know is going to unlock secrets within my field. And the more I do this, the more I see it's having an effect on on people who are there. And that feedback is interesting. But what is happening is I'm giving them permission to fully step into their bodies, embody their power, and learn how to move and express themselves in a way that will heal them as well. And I think it's just such a vital gift, whatever version of life for anyone listening, whatever it is that you love doing and makes you feel alive, get really fucking good at it. And go and share it with the world. It doesn't have to be something people pay you for, but eventually they will. They'll ask you to teach them a workshop on how to move your body differently because they're all locked up and afraid of expressing themselves. And so the littlest thing you can do to free yourself will literally give permission and opportunity for other people to free themselves as well. So
Yeah, bro, I love that. That's facts.
yeah,
That's
dude.
so true. That's a very, very powerful statement.
Mhm.
Like people are willing to invest in themselves it will if it will free them
Yeah,
instead of like this whole like free economy concept that people are trying to brainwash everyone into. I mean, the thing is that people pay to pay attention.
yeah.
Like
That's it.
people pay to pay attention. And that's a whole other conversation. But brother, it's been 2 hours. I
Yeah,
needed to I need to wrap this one up, but man, it was really beautiful to talk with you. I
me
feel
too.
like we should definitely get together again. There's so many different places that we didn't
Yeah,
explore, but that's very difficult in 2 hours. I'm glad that
sure.
we had the time though, man.
Me too. Good to meet you, man. Can't wait to put this out. I'll put it out in a few days and I'll let you know. And man, I'll look forward to the next one. Thanks for showing up and good to get to know you a little bit, man.
Yeah, it's great to get to know you more, bro. I'll talk
Cool.
with you soon, all right, man? Much
All right.
love. Take
Okay.
care.
Much love, everyone. Bye bye.